Hey everyone, Chris Lambert here from the Watching the Throne podcast. On this episode, I'm going to talk about this Twitter thread that kind of blew up, saying that Kim Kardashian slept with Drake, and that Drake has been telling us this through vague hints on Scorpion, but we just haven't put it all together yet. And you can see from the retweets and the likes that this got pretty popular. To where people were commenting on it, it was in the media, and I wanted to debunk it a bit. You know, this theory got started because way back, way back, it feels like ages ago, when Daytona came out, we had infrared on it where Pusha T took shots at Drake. Drake responded with Duppy Freestyle, which had Pusha responding with The Story of Adidon, which announced to the world that Drake had a child that Drake hadn't told anybody about. That was pretty damaging for Drake, and people were wondering how he would respond. What big thing would he drop on Pusha? And the response was nothing. Apparently, the story goes, he had something so damaging on Kanye, it would have made Kanye never show his face again. He would have jumped from a building. There were all these hyperboles thrown out about it. But Jay Prince made Drake promise he would never release it. So that brought up two questions. One, was that even true? Like, could it just be Drake bluffing because he had nothing? Or did he have something? And if he did, what was it? Could it be something about Kanye personally? Could it be something about Kanye as a musician? Could it be something about Drake and Kim? Because we know Kanye loves and adores Kim. What would ruin him or bring him to such hysterics? Maybe Drake sleeping with Kim. That was one of the theories. So when Scorpion came out, popular podcaster Joe Budden did an episode about the album where he put forth the theory that Drake had slept with Kim Kardashian. And he pointed to a few lines that were clearly about Kanye, but then took any vague lines about a woman and said that those were about Kim, basing that mostly around this line from 8 out of 10. Drizzy about to drop the game is in disarray. I'd tell you hear me out, but we both know end of the day. Your sister is press and play, your trainer is press and play, your wifey, your wifey, your wifey, your wifey. The first part of this track with the intro, Too Rich for Who, clearly addresses Kanye and the lyric that Kanye has on No Mistakes about being too rich to fight Drake and trying to squash the beef with Drake despite throwing in the random, you light skin, calm down. So Drake does take shots at Kanye throughout Scorpion. And Joe's right about that, even if some of his interpretations were off base to me. But he makes this dramatic jump from the idea that Drake just saying, like, every woman in your life is going to listen to my music, which is as much to Kanye as it is just generic rapping braggadocio, right? Like, I'm so popular, every woman you know is listening to my music and thinking about me, including your wife. That's just straight up what he's saying here. But Joe seemed to take it to the idea that Drake saying your wifey multiple times somehow meant Drake had had this sexual relationship with Kim, connecting other lines on another track, going so far to say that he thought a verse in this and a verse in another song were the diss track that never came out, but just broken up. But that didn't work either when you look at both of those verses specifically and how they operate in the context of their tracks. A nice theory to put forth, but it falls apart upon inspection. And I have a whole video that goes point by point through Joe's theory and debunks it. But this theory as well uses that your wifey, your wifey, your wifey as something more scandalous than just saying, hey, your wife will listen to my music, which we know Drake in general will brag about how much more popular he is as a musician than other artists he's in beef with. It doesn't necessarily have to be like, I fucked your wife by just mentioning her. Just saying like, hey, your wife listens to my music in a beef by musical artists is something. And Drake's the same guy that bragged on Sicko Mode that he took half a Xan and passed out on a flight for 13 hours. Like, he isn't someone that doesn't have some like cheesy lines, despite having more dramatic lines at the same time. Like, he can murder you and also just tickle you. It's a very weird dynamic and combination with him. So while you can read something a bit more sensational and like bragging and masculine about it, like, your wifey, your wifey, your wifey, I fucked her, it could also just be Drake saying, I make music that your wife likes. So let's get into this. A couple weeks ago, before the Drake concert, one of my buddies made this claim. I, probably like you, disregarded it at first. He referenced verses like these from Scorpion. I already knew the disses were aimed at Kanye, but he claimed every girl line was about Kim. Which, right there, is insane to me. Thinking that every girl line on a Drake album relates to Kim because a few lines on the Drake album refer to Kanye. Like, what? How do you even make that as a basis? If that is your basis, of course you're going to think Drake had sex with Kim. But if you're looking at it logically and looking for, okay, what is evidence that he's talking specifically about Kim Kardashian in any of these points, you're not going to find it. And one of the things that's really funny, like, okay, so if Drake had never talked about a random girl that he had slept with, or your girl likes me more than you, or she sleeps with me and doesn't sleep with you, if he never talked about any of that and then suddenly was talking about it on this album with all the Kanye talk, yes, that's more evidence, or at least would make more sense that it's out of the context of what he normally talks about. So why is he talking about it? But you can look at any Drake album and there will be songs throughout where Drake just addresses a generic you, being this girl that he's had a bad relationship with, or will he'll just refer to girls that he's fucked or fucking, or refer to another guy and saying, I took your girl. Like, it happens on every Drake album. We can even go back to Views. I went through the first 10 tracks, and you can see that of the first 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 of them had lyrics with this generic you or just banging chicks kind of thing. And it's all because you chose a side. You're supposed to put your pride aside and ride for me. Guess it wasn't time, and of course you went and chose a side that wasn't mine. Is that about Kim? That he loved Kim and she left him for Kanye? No, it's not. It's not. Slide on a late night. You like to slide on a late night. You send the "Are you here?" text without an invite. That's that shit I don't like. Is that about him talking to Kim? No. But he talks about this kind of you doing this all the time. Feel no way. I tried with you. There's more to life than sleeping in and getting high with you. I had to let go of us to show myself what I could do. Is that about Kim? No. This one, though, is interesting. Yeah, I brought your wifey out to St. Martin. She violated. I sent her back where it all started. So this is about Meek Mill, and it was well known at the time that Drake was having a relationship with Lyra Galore, the ex-fiance of Rick Ross, and that Meek Mill was also rumored to be dating her. And Meek Mill had addressed it in a song, and Drake countered with, I brought your wifey out to St. Martin. So he has addressed specifically somebody else's girlfriend in the past, but it's after they brought it up, and it's been something that the media had known about leading up to the lyric. So there was at least smoke before the line came out, which made sense to everybody. With everything with Kim Kardashian, there's never been any smoke there, and he didn't address it as directly as he addressed it here, which maybe he's not addressing it directly because he promised Drake Prince he wouldn't bring it up. So now he's just using coded language throughout all of his album to imply that he slept with Kim, which I think would still make J. Prince upset if that was happening, but also just seems like not what would be the case. He would either just straight up say it or not say it. Redemption, I know you're seeing someone that loves you, and I don't want you to see no one else. I don't want you here with no one else. I don't want you to do this with no one else. Not about Kim, just some random you. It's about us right now, girl. Where you going? It's about us right now. Where you going? I'm with you. So all these View songs do this. You would think It's All Mine the way I took it. And then this song, oh, where is it? Where is it? And I see your girl all the time, though. I can't tell you if she's yours or mine, but I do know. You know, that could be about somebody he was beefing with, and it's based on real events, or it could be just the generic bragging, your girl likes me more, that is very common in the hip-hop world. So we see that all through Views. And you can find countless examples in every other Drake album. So assuming that every girl line was about Kim on Scorpion is dumb. It's very dumb and indefensible when putting forth this theory. So one of the main things, and not one of the main things, but Tyler brings up these Instagram posts that Kim on July 20th, here, I'll shrink this for you. On July 20th said, I'm really shy in this Instagram post. Then on August 26th, thereabouts, or August 22nd, somewhere in there, Drake also posted, I'm shy. And Tyler seems to think that this couldn't be coincidental, that somehow the two are connected. That's still a stretch to me. If she had posted this and the same day Drake posted, I'm really shy or I'm shy, I could see that. If Kim had posted it like 3 years ago and Drake had posted the same day, the same thing 3 years ago, I could even see that as an argument. Like it was a little coded message between them, an inside joke between them. But her saying that and then a month and some change later, Drake typing I'm shy, I don't think there's really a way to connect those two things at all. Maybe Drake knew about the picture and is trying to imply something just to play mind games with Kanye, as we know that he's still been taking minor shots at Kanye. It could just be I'm shy as a comment to an Instagram post is something that people are doing as more of a cultural trend, a joke. He might have heard it somewhere else and thought it was funny and used it. There's lots of potential ideas. Sure, you can jump to the fact that this somehow connects Kim and Drake and means that they've had a sexual fling in the past, but that seems like a gigantic leap to make. On to the next thing. I started listening to Scorpion and put it on shuffle. In My Feelings is the first song that comes on. Ever wonder who Kiki really is? And this is one of those moments where you could be like, oh damn, like what a point. Cause thought to myself, Kiki is pretty damn close to Kim. Quick Twitter search and I found this. I was thinking Chloe and I have our nicknames, Kiki and Coco. I'm here live tweeting, hey Keeks. Then I learned about Kim's lipstick. Kiki is a pinky nude. So Tyler seems to be implying that Kiki is Kim's nickname and that In My Feelings referring to Kiki means that Drake is talking about Kim. But if you just go to the Wikipedia page, you can see that, where is it? In My Feelings is a bounce track similar to Drake's previous single, Nice for What. Upon its release, several outlets reported that the song was about Kashia Shantae, Drake's first girlfriend and childhood friend. Oh, her name looks like somebody that would be nicknamed Kiki, given that her name starts with that sound. And the video itself has Drake going to this girl's house and her mom yelling down at him as he's trying to talk to the girl late at night, calling out to her when she's in her room. So she's at her window talking down to him. He's trying to get her to go on a date with him, to give him time, while the mom starts yelling at him. It's a very childish interaction, and it would make sense, I think, that it's referring to Drake's first girlfriend and childhood friend. You can imagine Drake as a teenager going over to this girl's house and having a situation like that. Much more so than like a 31-year-old guy going over to a girl's house and having that happen. It seems like something that would have been rooted in childhood and something that, you know, a childhood friend might get a kick out of. The two were recently spotted together. Doesn't mean anything's happening between them, but they still have some kind of friendship and dynamic. Is it that crazy to think that this song is more so about this former flame and person in Drake's life more so than Kanye's wife? I think at the very least, it at least shows that there's another interpretation that's probably even more valid than being about Kim. It just so happens Kim has the same nickname. First verse of the album, Drake comes directly at Kanye with a Kim reference at the end, but why would Ye question his love with Kim? So he's talking about survival, which seems to be setting the scene and the context of the album, that there's all this disorder, no addressing, the crown is broken in pieces, but there's more in my possession. There's a whole lot in my possession. Who do you really love? Well, that's sure to be in question. So Tyler puts forth that this idea of who would you really love is Ye questioning his love with Kim, which wouldn't make any sense at all. And the Kim reference at the end would be, Daddy got suits like Bernie Mac, he dresses himself. I stopped asking myself and I started feeling myself. Now I got to deal with all this drama and deal with myself. I even have to cut the tie. It's severed itself. This just the intro. Let me not get ahead of myself. With the implication that Tyler's making, I even have to cut the tie. It severed itself, being Drake's relationship with Kim. But so much of this is just his dominance in the rap game and the conflict he's having with other people, which is put forth right at the beginning with the crown is broken in pieces. It's his battle for possession of the crown. And Drake's saying he has a lot of it, but he's still having this conflict with others who are trying to take it. And I even have to cut the tie. It severed itself. Seems more about Kanye than Drake and Kim. And who do you really love? Well, that's sure to be in question. You know, if all these people are battling over the crowd or over the crown, it would make sense that the crowd, the people, have to be asked, who do you really love? Is it me? Is it Pusha? Is it Kanye? Like, you have to pick a side in this beef. But Genius also points out the line could be Drake addressing how he allegedly appeared to use a hefty amount of Rappin' for Tay's lyrics from the 1992 song Players Club on his verse for YG's 2014 hit, Who Do You Love? He reportedly paid out $100,000 for this back in 2014. So if you look at the Who Do You Love lyrics, Champagne, bitch, who do you love? I got a shorty named Texas Sin. She got a buddy named Young JB, and now you know the deal. You look at the first line here. I got a hoe named Real to Real. She got a buddy named SP12. Now you know the deal. We gets freaky in the studio late nights. That's why the beats that you hear are coming real tight. We turned up in the studio late night. That's why the songs that you hear are coming real tight. Like, straight up just takes from it, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, is a fine thing, either way. But who do you really love? Well, that's sure to be in question. Seems more likely to be a tongue-in-cheek addressing of that situation, or just talking to listeners in this battle that's happening in the rap game, more so than speaking about Kim Kardashian and dedicating the whole thing to Kim Kardashian. It seems less relevant, like the least relevant thing that could possibly be put forth in what this opening verse is addressing. So moving on, we get to fast forward to the end of the song, started feeling myself, in my feelings, Kiki. That's just a random connection based on the idea of feeling myself and in my feelings and connecting that to Kiki. One's a track about, the opening track here, Survival, is about the rap game and his relationships in the rap game, where In My Feelings is one of these lovesick songs that Drake is known for that gets the radio play, which gets at the kind of duality of the scorpion that may seem to be a theme on the album, where he can be the stinger or he can be the lover, which is kind of something we see on Views as well. He kind of floats back and forth between that dynamic. It kind of is the dynamic that defines Drake. He can be this very vulnerable, hopeless romantic person on one song, and then be the braggadocio, ego-driven, I'm the best there ever was, I fuck everything on another track. This album isn't really that different. So I think that might be a little bit of a stretch to try to connect that to Kim Kardashian. Then we get here, everyone questioned why Drake never responded to Pusha after the second diss. At first, I thought the claim it would be bad for Kanye was just a weak excuse and Drake took an L. But hold on, maybe Drake does have something on Ye. Good is the name of Kanye's record label. I think Drake is saying an 8 out of 10. Kanye is lucky he never responded with the second diss. So this would be, I guess, the evidence that Drake has something on Ye. They always ask, why let the story run if it's false? You know, a wise man once said nothing at all, which doesn't necessarily mean Drake has something. It's more so that if you never address the story, people will assume the worst about it or come to their own conclusions. It can be more damaging than if you try to correct the record. And then it can also be more damaging if you try to correct the record, right? If Drake were to come out and be like, hold on. Well, he did try to correct the record. He was like, I was going to let you all know about my son. You know, I was hiding you from him rather than hiding him from you. And people just tore that apart. It's like whatever he was going to say wasn't going to help him. And that seems to be more, it's better to say nothing at all than to try to shoot things down or correct the record or do anything like that. Less so than I have evidence on Kanye and I'm just not going to say anything at all. That doesn't make sense to me. Only lying I do is lying out the tropics. Only crying I do is crying from laughing about it. Only lacking I do is my lack of responses. That is not evidence that he has something on Kanye. It's just evidence that he didn't respond. And then 8 out of 10, as luck would have it, I've settled into my role as the good guy. I guess luck is on your side. I guess luck is on your side. It's not that Drake is saying Kanye's lucky, Drake never responded. The OVO symbol is the owl, and owls are symbolic for good luck. So, on 8 out of 10, with this line right here, Drake is saying, I've settled into my role as the good guy in response to helping production on good music. He had a credit on Yikes and was there in Wyoming to help Kanye. So this is more saying, I'm the guy behind good music. I helped you all put out good shit. He also sent the invoice to Pusha T for helping Pusha T's album sales with the beef that they had. I guess luck is on your side is just saying that the owl, OVO, Drake, you know, we were on your side. All sevens, no sixes, rest easy, get some shut-eye. And now he's saying that you don't have me anymore, right? You don't have the six god, you don't have Toronto backing you anymore. That's more of what's going on in this line than just saying, Kanye, you're lucky I didn't release the diss track, that I didn't reveal to everybody that I banged Kim Kardashian. It's more just him talking about his role with good music and the work he did for them, which was just writing credit on one song. First photo is in reference to an interview between DJ Academics and Drake. Second photo is J Prince explaining Drake has info that would end Kanye's career, ruin his livelihood. Drake hints at this on Mob Ties and confirms it on Behind Bars. So this is just... Prince continued by confirming that a response exists, saying, oh, no doubt about it, the ingredients were overwhelming. I know for a fact that it would have been bad for Kanye, and my man, it wouldn't have been good. It's beyond music at that point. It's going to affect the livelihood. It's going to interfere with his entire lifestyle from that day forward. Doesn't necessarily say anything about his wife, more so about his livelihood. Standing over a coffin with a hammer and a nail. It could be about Kanye. It could just be furthering this myth of the response that never was. It could just be a generic rapping braggadocio line. I know so much shit that I cannot expose. I keep it inside and I laugh on my own. Got all the tea and I'm hotting it up. I need a shade mansion. A room's not enough. You're dropping some shit. That shit was a bust. So that's from Behind Bars. Let's see. You can see that here. They got no direction. They're following us. I come from a city that they never touch. Your man is a goofy and he could get rushed. I can't name a rapper or a girl that I trust. I dream about turning these youths into dust. So I do think that that's about Kanye. I don't think any of that has anything to do with Kim Kardashian. And it's just Drake furthering the notion that he could have done something bold and destructive regarding Kanye, but didn't. What else do we got? Rap fans grilled Drake about not responding to Push, except we don't know the half of it, he says. And whatever it is, he can only tell us about it in pieces. What don't we know, Drake? Back and forth to Italy, my comment section killing me. I swear I get so passionate. Y'all don't know the half of it. And then in another song, yeah, I can only tell you shit in pieces. As it happens to me, I begin to write the thesis. Which that's kind of on the Joe Budden level of connecting two completely disparate things from two completely different songs and trying to show that that means something. I mean, we do that in the podcast, but that's because Kanye's making a straight up narrative album that has a flow from beginning, middle, and end, where you can see the continuity between tracks all the way through. Drake on Scorpion doesn't seem to be doing that. It's a collection of still shots that are each their own thing. A collection of poems or a collection of short stories rather than chapters of a novel or scenes from a movie, right? So it's hard to take that seriously when you connect those things. And when you look at the actual verse, back and forth to Italy, my comment section killing me. I swear I get so passionate. Y'all don't know the half of it. I grew up with the reps up boys. We crashing and splashing it. When I say they crashing it, I do not mean an accident. I'm still in the studio at 6:45 and my haters. It seems that he's saying, y'all don't know the half of it, which is the half of what I do. Like, this is where I came from. This is the work I put in. Like, I've been kicked when I was down. Like, I'm successful now. They be watching what they say, especially when it's in my face. Everything will be okay, man. Just stay out of my way. Like, that doesn't necessarily mean that Drake was going to reveal something earth-shattering. It's just saying that the people that are in his comment section don't know all the shit that Drake has gone through to reach the point where he's at now. But if you just isolate that and put it through this filter frame that is about Kim Kardashian, of course it can look more nefarious than what it is. But if you look at just the verse and what the verse is doing, it's far less salacious than what the Twitter post makes it seem. But I do think that this last part is about Kanye. Man, just stay up out of my way, especially because this first verse talks about, guys think they run the town till we run them out of town, and they got to relocate, got to dip from where they stay. Everything will be okay. Man, just stay up out my way. Which, after the Drake and Pusha beef, Kanye hadn't really returned to Hidden Hills where both he and Drake live. Instead, Kanye was in Wyoming for a lot of it, but that's because Kanye was working on albums in Wyoming as he had for the last year and a half. So this is kind of a false front by Drake as he's taking claim for something that wasn't necessarily about him. It's like Kanye was always going to be in Wyoming no matter what was going on with Drake, but because they beefed before, Drake's now like, I chased you out of town. It's like, you didn't. You didn't. But you're trying to frame it as that, which I think that's a little bit of everything that Drake's doing on this album with regard to Kanye. He's taking something with a kernel of truth and then blowing it up to make Drake look superior to Kanye. And I don't blame him for that. I'm just saying I think that's what's going on more so than Drake's just outright right. Let's see. Let's look at Is There More and Behind Bars, since Drake is talking about Kanye and both. In Is There More, Drake tells us he's ready to come clean about something. Now focus on the word goof in both songs. Also in Behind Bars, he seems to speak directly to Kim. Sweeter the berry, the blacker the juice, the boy is back in the booth. Ready to tap into truth, too many lyrics about houses and loot, too many Walt Disney characters, mouses and goofs. Your man is a goofy and he could get rushed. I can't name a rapper or girl that I trust. I dream about turning these youths into dust. Goofy, Chicago term for a lame or a snitch. I mean, it would seem with all the other shots that he's taking on Kanye that this would be a low-key shot at Kanye. Your man is a goofy and he could get rushed doesn't necessarily mean he's talking to Kim. It could just be anybody that is friends with Kanye, any fans that love Kanye. Just saying to the general people that support Kanye, he's a goofy, and we could kick the shit out of him. It could be about Kim, but it's also a generic second person. So it's hard to assign that to Kim, especially when on Behind Bars, there's no direct talk to Kim. So that's hard to make that connection that it's a direct address to Kim. I guess you could say I can't name a rapper or girl that I trust. So because he said your man and then says a girl, maybe that is about Kanye and Kim specifically. But that's also a vague connection, and it's hard to use that as the foundation for anything larger, especially all the claims that so many other lyrics on the album are specifically about Kim and Drake having sex. Even if you believe that this is about Kim, it could just be that he thought they were friends and then she took Kanye's side, so doesn't trust her. It doesn't necessarily have to be about sex. Your wifey doesn't seem so generic anymore. It didn't seem generic in the first place. It just doesn't necessarily mean I fucked your wife. Drake has a good relationship with the Kardashians, and we know they both live in Hidden Hills. So you can see Drake with Kylie and Chris, Drake with Kylie, Drake with Chris. And then he has the line, if they come to Hidden Hills, then I know they know the deal. We just right there up the road, you could hit it with a stone. Which, just seems to be getting more at Hidden Hills. That was a line that on Joe Budden, Joe took that as meaning Drake had fucked Kim, which seems more so to be about girls that come back to Hidden Hills rather than Kim, or as equally about girls coming back to Hidden Hills. Like, if they come to Hidden Hills, then they know the deal. Like, if we're out partying and they come back to my place, they know what's going on. More so, that's probably what's being said than, like, this is about Kim. So just how close do Drake and Kanye live from each other sounds pretty damn close. And that's it. You know, less than a mile, half a mile, maybe. You can infer what went down. Even if you can't, Drake might just tell us later in this verse. Drake hopped on a track with essentially Ye's brother-in-law to flex how he smashed his wife. So here Tyler's referring to sicko mode. Light, like a light, A, slept through the flight, A, knocked for the night, A, 767, man. This shit got double bedroom, man. I still got scores to settle, man. I crept down the block, made a right, cut the lights, paid the price. That's what Tyler points out. And why he made the connection to this. I mean, you could see Drake takes a right. And he even captured it. I crept down the block, made a right, cut the lights, paid the price. It could be about that. Like, hey, yeah, I went to your house and slept with your wife. But if you keep going through the verse, that's what I like. Jesus Christ checks over stripes, Nike over Adidas. That's what I like. That's what we like. Lost my respect, you not a threat, which seems to be more of an address to Kanye. When I shoot my shot, that shit wetty like I'm Shaq. See the shots that I took, wet like I'm a book, wet like I'm Lizzie. I be spinning valley circle blocks till I'm dizzy. Like, where is he? No one's seen him. I'm trying to clean him. So the verse ends with Drake seeming to be looking for Kanye, potentially, or some generic person, and wanting to fight him. But nobody's seen him, which seems to be continuing the idea that Kanye had left Hidden Hills, that Drake had chased him out, that we had seen on the last track. So is this as much about I crept down the block, made a right, cut the lights, paid the price? Is that about having sex with Kim? Or is that about just trying to fuck with Kanye? Or that he had worked with Kanye and, you know, paid the price for working with Kanye? It still seems kind of vague to me. You know, this person had said that it's about drugs, which I can't remember the last time I saw Drake rapping about buying drugs. Maybe that is what it is. This person said he's creeping around Calabasas looking for Kanye, as you would find out later in the verse. He's creeping around because he's looking for Kim K. This is definitely not a drug pickup. It's more likely him creeping to fade Kanye. The lines directly before it, got scores to settle, refers to Pusha Kanye beef. Lines right after it are innuendos about shooting someone. The last 4 bars about Drake circling Calabasas. So people go back and forth. You know, is it about Kim? Is it about just him trying to, like, fucking shoot Kanye? Either way, it's dramatic, but I don't think either way it's necessarily proof that Drake slept with Kim. It could just be, if that is what he would be referring to, him trying to get in Kanye's head and talking up. So Tyler goes on to say, I think Scorpion was originally mostly side B until Ye snitched to Push about Drake's kid. Once that got exposed, Drake made side A to not only go after Kanye, but subtly tell us about the history with Kim. Elevate, only obligation is to tell it straight. Me and all the guys found a better way. This is a life bid we can never separate. That's just a random line. And if his only obligation is to tell it straight, why then would he be saying all these vague, piece by piece, did he, didn't he information? It doesn't support what Tyler is saying that it does. People have been asking about other verses. I thought maybe in reference to Kim or were important. Here you go. The verse in Talk It Up and Nonstop, I'm certain on. The verse on Blue Tint and Lil Wayne's sample on In My Feelings could be debatable, but are definitely suspect. They had it set up for real, but they didn't come with the slaps. When I heard the shit, I was skipping through that. If I get it tripping, it's no coming back. I don't understand. These guys gotta adapt. You know where I'm at. I put the 6 on the map. Your shorty was bent. She wanted to vent. I promise it fell on my lap. My money is young. My problems are old. I promise I'm bridging the gap. So if you look at this, it says 10 of us, we move in as one. I'm so proud of who I've become. 10 of us moving as one. Looking at the group at OVO, there's 10 people there. You might think I've taken some lumps, only if we talking about sums. Getting at the beef with Drake, or the Pusha. Intentions are pure. They cannot tell me relax. My mentions are jokes, but they never give me the facts. This isn't that. Can't be ignoring the stats. Based off of that, they got to run the max. They got to run the max. If I get tripping, it's no coming back. You know where I'm at. I put the 6 on the map. Your shorty was bent. She wanted to vent. I promise it fell on my lap. You know, is this about Kanye specifically? Or is this just the generic kind of your girl likes me more that we've seen Drake use on every other album? It depends on how you want to frame it. If you want to buy into the theory, I think you could point to this and be like, oh, right there, he told us. If you want to not buy into the theory, this is something that is very common that Drake has said before on many other songs. Things just like this. So, I don't think it necessarily proves anything. And here's an obvious one I should definitely have used. It's obvious, but it's actually not. It's just about Kanye. It has nothing to do with Kim. They want to link when they got no tunes. They too worried about selling out shoes. Clearly about Kanye. I don't give a fuck about jeans and crepe or going to Milan or going to the Met. I just want to make these songs for the set. There's nothing in that that comes over, that comes on about Kanye. I just saw the first part. Think you know me? That's not true. We got ties in West End too. She came over and she got slewed, throwing up 6 like man had flu. I got way too big off views. Back to the basics, I won't lose. So is this generic she came over and she got slewed about Kim? Again, this is a line that, this is a kind of content that Drake has said countless times. The fact that it leads into talking about Kanye, I don't necessarily think means that the first part is referring to Kim Kardashian. It's just more about, you know, Drake's lifestyle. Think you know me? I do this, I got this, and now I'm going to brag about, like, I don't care about Kanye. It doesn't have to necessarily be consequential that because he talked about Kanye, any girl that's referenced prior to that is Kim. It's just part of what Drake's done in countless other songs where he talks about braggadocio things and then attacks somebody that he wants to attack. And that completes it. Sorry this video is so fucking long, but there was a lot in there to discuss in that. So I think that's why this theory, while popular, is very hollow and doesn't actually work when you look into the details of it. If you frame it a certain way and narrow the context, you can almost read anything into anything. But when you actually expand and look at all the context that's there and look at Drake's discography and what he's talked about in other albums, no, it doesn't add up to me. So that does it for this video. once again, sorry for the length. See ya.